Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name's Alex. I'm a CSM with IBM Canada. In this demo, I'll use my browser to access IBM Verify and Salesforce UIs. My browser to access a Windows VM which has the Verify bridge for directory sync installed and running on it, and from where I'll manage Windows Active Directory users and groups. And I'll use my laptop and its FIDO fingerprint device. You can run Verify on premises, in the cloud, or as software as a service. You can run it in one cloud while protecting identities and assets across hybrid cloud. In the next 12 to 13 minutes, I'll demo passwordless authentication and automatic account provisioning from Verify into Salesforce, and demo some high-level scenarios around identity governance. Because this is an identity demo and I'm using several personas, administrator, application owner, managers, employees and contractor, there's a lot of logging in and logging out. I haven't set up multiple private browsers as that might have been confusing, but I have sped up the login and logout flows. In Verify as Scott, the company's system administrator, I'm clicking Applications, Applications again, and the gear icon, which appears when you mouse over the row. You can see that James is the application owner. In Sign-On, single sign-on is enabled, not disabled, for Salesforce. In Account Lifecycle, provision accounts and deprovision accounts are enabled. However, in Salesforce, the deprovision action maps to suspend or deactivate, not delete. To prepare for this demo, I configured single sign-on and Account Lifecycle, the attribute mapping from Salesforce to Verify. In Entitlements, employees get access to Salesforce automatically, but contractors don't. Additional permissions in Verify, or rights in Salesforce, can be controlled by account synchronization, but that's not available by default in the Verify SaaS trial, but you can get it enabled by special request. Good news. Jessica's joining our company as an employee. In Verify, Scott can't see Jessica yet. In the VM, the Verify bridge is running as a Windows service. I'm creating Jessica Wilson. To reduce the time and complexity for this demo, I'm showcasing regular users, not federated users from Windows AD. So even though I'm setting Jessica's password, because Windows makes me, Verify users use a password managed in the tenant, not in Active Directory. Her email is jessica at my temporary email domain. And her manager's Amy Adams. In Verify, I've clicked Directory and Users and Groups. Jessica's details have been synchronized and Scott can see Jessica now. I didn't configure the Verify bridge to send an email when a new account's created in AD, but I have access to Jessica's email account in my temporary email domain for this demo, and I'll trigger a password reset manually. I've clicked the link in Jessica's email and I'm resetting her password. I pre-configured Verify to provision access to Salesforce for employees, so Jessica automatically gains access. I'm not going to talk through the steps for Verify's self-service SSO via FIDO device, but I am showing them, minus the one-time password via email, in this video at 4 times speed to show how easy it is to set up MFA with a fingerprint device. There, we're logged into Verify and thus Salesforce via fingerprint. And Betty's signed a fixed-term contract with our company. In Windows AD, I'm creating Betty Lee. Her email is betty at my temporary email domain, and her manager's Jacob Jackson. I've triggered a password reset manually and changed her password. As a contractor, Betty doesn't automatically pick up access to Salesforce, but we will request it. In Verify, Betty requests access to Salesforce. And still, in Verify, Jacob and James Wilson, the company's Salesforce application owner, can see the request pending from Betty. But we'll jump straight to James approving the request in this demo. Both Jessica and now Betty can single sign on to Salesforce and use Salesforce Chatter. Jessica added the security of passwordless authentication, and for the sake of simplicity, I'm only provisioning access to one app in this demo. Verify Identity Governance automates provisioning user access to third-party applications and provides risk-based authentication and adaptive access. If you'd like to see these features or other use cases that I don't cover in this video, please message me and I'll arrange a follow-on session with our client engineering team or security expert labs. In Verify, in addition to workflows to approve access like for Betty in Salesforce, Verify supports access certification campaigns to streamline access review for compliance purposes and automates deprovisioning access. It's all very well and good giving people access, but you're probably more interested in how or when it's taken away again. You'll be pleased to hear you don't need to click through every user, because this is where Verify Identity Governance comes in, with certification or rather recertification campaigns. As Scott, I've clicked Applications and Access Certification. Campaigns can include or exclude certain users or groups, can optionally deprovision access immediately during a campaign, and can be ad hoc or scheduled, including on a recurring basis with a frequency that suits your organization. I'm creating each of these campaigns to run immediately and for the reviewer decision to take effect immediately, because you don't want to wait 30 days to see how this works. In Verify, Jacob, one of the company's managers, completes the account campaign for users who report to him. That's Amy and Betty. And he's also targeted with a user campaign for users who report to him who aren't provisioned access automatically. So that's just Betty. Next, James, the company's Salesforce application owner, reviews and completes the account campaign. For Jacob and me, because we don't have a manager, because we report directly to the board, and group campaign for employees and contractors. As application owner, James reviews all accounts for users without a manager, and only the application owner, James, reviews group campaigns. At the 11th hour, Betty didn't extend her contract, so I'll remove her from Windows AD. She's automatically deprovisioned, i.e. suspended in Salesforce, and removed from Verify. As for Jessica, she no longer works for our fictitious organisation, so when Amy reviews the account campaign, she rejects Jessica's access, and because in the campaign we selected for decisions to take effect immediately, Jessica's immediately suspended in Salesforce. If I remember, I'll remove her from AD later. Both Scott, the administrator, and James, the application owner, can check on campaign progress. They can see when a campaign was started, when it finishes, and how many recertifications have been approved or rejected. In fact, you can see every choice made when the campaign was created. Verify Identity Governance provides a number of useful reports for organizations to deliver on audit requirements. User Entitlements shows who has access to applications managed in Verify. In the User Entitlement for Salesforce application report, it shows entitlement name and type, and you can see that employees gain access by default, while contractors, by default, have to request it. Authentication activity shows user login activity to Verify and details for a range of dates. You can see who, when and from where, IP and location, as well as sign-in options, username and password or passwordless for MFA FIDO device, and successful versus failed logins. You also see a summary of this report on the home page when Scott switches to admin. Application usage shows application authentication activity for a range of dates. You can see who, when and from where, IP and location, a users accessed an application. Admin activity shows details for management events for a range of dates. You can see who, when and from where an admin activity was performed, which in this demo could have been performed by Scott, the administrator, James, the application owner, or Verify Bridge for directory sync. Fulfillment history shows details for management activities for a range of dates. You can see who had access provisioned and deprovisioned and when it happened. And last, for this demo but not least, certification campaign activity shows details for reviewers and management activities for a range of dates. The Reviewer Activity tab shows details for review timestamp, decision, reviewer, entity, compliance, and other relevant information. The Management Activity tab shows campaign lifecycle details, from who created a campaign and when it was created to when it was started, at the same time for a one-time campaign but different for recurring ones, and also shows cancelled and completed. I've demonstrated some day-to-day administration, offboarding and onboarding activities in IBM Security Verify, how seamless it is to integrate users and groups from an identity source, Microsoft AD in a Windows VM, and how straightforward it is to enable MFA and fingerprint, provisioning and deprovisioning user entitlements in a third-party application, the Salesforce Chatter app in this demo, as well as governance activities, scheduling and participating in reviews, approving and rejecting access. And I've shown you a variety of reports to be shared with management or auditors. If you'd like to see how IBM Identity Fabric can extend governance to your consumers, you can use the pages and links I started bringing up on the screen a moment ago. That concludes this demonstration. Thank you for watching.
All people in this demo are fictitious, and any resemblance to real persons living or dead is purely coincidental.